Hello, Jefferson Middle School. Mostly euphonium players, but and tuba too uh, could listen or watch this. It'll be the same. You'll just be playing an octave down. Trombone players, you can watch it too. Just you might get a little something from this one, but this one's a little more specific to the euphonium than the trombone one. Um, the first thing that I talked about, I think for everybody, is thinking about the rhythm. What you want to do. This is in 6/8 time, which means that the basic feel that you're going to have, the basic beat pattern that you're going to feel, is a three pattern. Um, all the time signatures and everything set up a beat pattern, like 4/4 time, which is the first um, time signature that you played, and you played in 4/4 time most of the time as a beginner, um, and it is we call it common time for a reason because it is the most common time, but um, in 4/4 time you've got strong beat, weak beat, strong weak, da da dum 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 2 3 4. I know really beat one is the strongest, but beat three is kind of the next strongest. So it's always stronger followed by weak, strong, weak. In a 6/8 piece or a 3/4 piece or something that is in three, um, you have a strong beat followed by two weak beats. So 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3. So you get that feel. If you have a metronome app on your phone or any kind of metronome that you have, um, it would be a good idea to see if it. Most metronomes will have a function where you can set every three beats to have a different sound, like this one is set up right now. The high pitch is on beat 1 2 3, 1 2. It sounds different than the other two. 1 2 3 1. And this piece starts with a pickup. So you're going to start on that second weak beat. 1 2 3 1 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1. So you want to get the feel of three as you're playing this. So let me just play maybe the first line or so, just so that you can hear how that feels. And I'll kind of emphasize the beat pattern, that uh, strong beat one and not a strong beat followed by two weaker beats. 1 2 3 1. Okay. Now it's not like every time you hit a beat one you should be like really strong, but you should just feel that pattern throughout the piece. Um, and then also one of the rhythmic things with this piece, if you listen to the fast etude, we talked about the dotted quarter eighth rhythm, that dotted rhythm that makes that first note longer than the shorter note that follows it. You've got that here in the second measure. Da, 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 down, down, up, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down. Um, so, so if you're tapping your foot, dee, da, 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 da. So that's here. Here it is at the beginning. Dee da da dee. Right. So that's the rhythm. It's kind of the same, really the same thing that we were talking about with the dotted quarter note, eighth note rhythm. Um, in fact, these rhythms, like in measure seven, you have quarter note 2/16, quarter note 2/16. if you were playing in 3/4 time, it would sound the same as if you were playing in 3/4 time, and you had a half note followed by 2/8, half note 2/8, 1 3 te 1 3 te, like that. So the rhythms look complicated, but they're not really as complicated as they seem. The one thing that I did want to go over for euphonium and tuba students that's different from trombone is you are supposed to play the grace notes. You've got grace note in measure 5, grace note in measure 9 or A. I don't remember. I thought there was another one later on, but I don't see it. Still going to be played the same way. Basically, what you do is, let's take let's take measure A. Let's look at that one first, because that's a little easier to explain. So at measure A or measure 9, you have an E flat quarter note up to a G eighth note, and then you have this little tiny note with a little slash through it. That's a G. Notice it's also a G, and then it goes to an F, or the big note that's right after it is an F. So what that means is you're going to play that G, the little note, you're going to tongue it, and immediately, you've got your first and second valve down. Immediately, you're going to lift your first and second valve to play the F that it follows. So like this. So I played the G again. I played E, G, G, F, but I tongued the G, the G that's the little grace note. I tongued it, and I didn't tongue the F because I just went immediately to the F. So measure 5, same thing. You just you've got an F, G, A, and then you've got the A flat grace note, followed by the G, which is the real note on the beat. So see, I tongued. Now I'm gonna tongue that grace note just gonna tongue it, but then I'm gonna go immediately to the G. So that's all there is to it. It's really pretty simple. You just have to realize you're tonguing the little note and not tonguing the big note. But you don't want to overemphasize the little note. You just want to play it as quickly as you can. Because it's kind of, think of it as not as important as the big notes, but it's there. We call those an ornament, and that's just what they are. They aren't the main thing, but they kind of spruce up the music a little bit. They spruce up the other notes a little bit and make them a little more fancy. So that's how you can think of it. Now, I will just real quickly touch on the legato playing. The thing that I would point out with you all, euphoniums and tubas, you play legato by just not tonguing notes. So at the beginning, the thing that I would point out to you is just be very aware of which notes are tongued and which notes are not, because sometimes what people will do, if you notice when I played that, some of the notes, the first note under the slur marking is tongued, but the others under that same slur are not. So it's not all, don't make all of them slur. Don't play them like this. This is not the way that you should do it. See, that time I slurred everything, but not all of those notes are slurred. You don't have to really emphasize the tongue notes that much, but do make a difference. Don't just, since most of this piece does have the legato or slur markings on them, it doesn't mean that everything should be slurred, that every note. So pay real close attention to when notes don't have the slurs on them, or the first note under the slur marking or legato marking should be tongued. And watch for places where you might think that you're supposed to keep slurring, but if you look at the slur mark, it ends, and then you're supposed to tongue the next note that follows it. Look, measure 15 and 16. That's a good example. The note at measure 16 is supposed to be tongued, not slurred. But a lot of people are probably going to not tongue that note. See, that time I played it wrong. That time I slurred it, but it's not under the slur mark. So just watch for things like that. With this piece, one other thing I'll say real quick, and this really, I didn't say this in the trombone one, but pay attention as much as possible. Try to play all of those crescendos and decrescendos, your dynamics. Forte, dynamics are what we call relative terms. So like forte is not necessarily the same throughout all of music. Some pieces, a forte might not be that loud. In other pieces of music, a forte might be really pretty loud. It kind of depends on the style and everything. But you can, look at the piece and see where you need to be loud, where you need to be soft, and make, a lot of it is making a difference. When you've come up to a mezzo forte and then that's followed by piano, be sure that you make that piano quiet, like measure 7, 8 going into measure 9 or A. What I was really showing you is the pickup to A is piano. So after you've crescendoed and gotten up to a mezzo forte and measure the first half of measure 8, when you come back with that pickup note into measure A, that should be soft. Just make sure that you're loud enough on your mezzo forte to be soft enough for the piano, because if you get it too soft, then the note won't come out, and then you've made a different mistake. Okay, well, I hope this helps, and thank you if you've watched this whole thing. I know this one was a little bit longer than the trombone one, but took a little bit more explanation on a couple of things. So thank you for listening, and good luck.